Hello everyone, I'm your host Blacktuna and welcome back in another video. I'm finally in my new location, although I'm apologizing already for the echo that you will probably hear in this video because the place is still a little bit unfurnished, so the audio is gonna bounce off the walls. I promise it's gonna get better eventually, but for now we finally have some huge news about Blue Protocol. I already know what you're thinking. There is no release date, no Western beta date, but there's still huge news indeed. Now this live stream that they had was mostly around closed beta feedback that they are addressing right now in the game, but there is actually more than one huge news in all of this, and I can't wait to reveal it to you. You will probably already see it in the title of the video and in the thumbnail, but I say we take it step by step. So let's start from the very beginning. I'm gonna have to mention actually one more thing. The live stream was in 1080p 30 fps, so the video that you are seeing was recorded by me from their live stream and therefore it's in 30 fps. If the animation looks a little bit choppy, that's the reason. Anyway, I will be reading out of a notepad because there's really too much detail and I will never remember all of this. And also I would like to give a huge thank you to Blue Protocol DB. They did an incredible job and they always do an incredible job when it comes down to translating whatever happens in the Blue Protocol live streams from Japanese to English. So huge thank you to Blue Protocol DB. You will find their website in the description down below. Starting with the closed beta feedback, we will have improved character creator. This includes more voices, more accessories, underwear of course, and much more. Of course in the future this will be upgraded even further. I have no doubts in my mind about this. For some other quality of life improvements, we have equipment presets. These are not going to be interchangeable in dungeons, like while you're already in the dungeons, but it still makes it easier for you to swap between different builds before you go out for a hunt or for a dungeon. They will also introduce training dummies that you can fight off and try your skills on, and also they are going to make some adjustments to mounts. Now mounts will still be usable when they reach 0 stamina, and they will still be faster than just simply walking around, so they are still gonna have some use even when the stamina is depleted, although while you have stamina you're going to be significantly faster, which is a huge improvement because honestly, I didn't really like too much the way mounts worked before, but now I can see this, I can go behind this. Different sizes for minimaps, loading times improvements, and one of the biggest quality of life improvements that they are going to make, or they are making right now, is that you will have infinite space in your inventory for materials. So your bag will never be full of materials. You won't need to go back to the city and maybe store them somewhere else or use them or vend them. You can accumulate as much as you want and then go back to the city once you're satisfied with what you've gathered. Of course, there are other UI improvements for quest display, customizable shortcuts, and much more. And now for some more interesting, to me at least, combat improvements. They're basically updating all the classes, kinda like what they did with the mage previously. And in this specific livestream, they've showcased plenty of new skills for each class basically. And apart from seeing how these classes work now, and how these new skills and different skills work, we also got to see new special effects that of course make the skills more impactful. The feedback that you receive from using a skill makes you feel like you're actually doing damage or you're actually contributing to a fight. But we also saw improvements in the characters' animations themselves, and as even the developers stated in their live stream, you can see a better flow during the combat between different skills and between different basic attacks as well. So everything flows together a little bit better, and they've also added more complexity to the combat system itself. From what I can read here, they've added charging attacks, dodging attacks, altitude bonuses for attacks, meaning that if you're doing a plunging attack from a higher place, you're gonna do more damage, I believe, and perfect evasion. So when you perfect dodge, I guess you get a bonus for your next attack, your next skill or something like that. And also they mentioned that they improved freedom in skill building. Now, I'm not really sure what this means, how this works, but it does sound appealing, and considering that So far, they've been listening to all the meaningful feedback that the community had. I think they are not gonna disappoint us on this one either. Plus again, the combat is getting these many layers of complexity now that I didn't even know I wanted or needed before. So again, the combat system was just good enough for me. It was already pretty solid, but now with all of this that they are adding and things that they will probably add in the future, I think they are doing such an incredible job with just listening, absorbing the feedback and working on it, even beyond our expectations. I don't know, I'm just baffled. Not only that, but they are adding new enemy attack patterns as well, so I hope this means that even the most basic enemies will have different attack patterns, because we already saw that enemies tend to work in groups. For example, a shield enemy will stay in front of a mage enemy, so that if you want to go to the mage enemy who's attacking you, you have first to go through the shield guy, and the shield guy is gonna block your arrows. So it's quite interesting to see them work this way, and I'm eager to see what they are doing on this side, if they're just adding more attack patterns and movesets, or if they're also working on the AI, giving them different strategy opportunity. I think that's a little bit too much for an MMO, probably, but a man can dream. Also, we can enable and disable visual effects, finally. I was mostly worried about some of my friends who really want to play this game but don't really have a powerful rig, so disabling VFX for other players I think is gonna help a lot, considering that this is anyway mostly or actually only a PvE based game. You don't really need to see other players' effects. And one of the final things that they've shown is that if you're a solo player, I think you can join dungeons with NPCs. Now we've already seen this previously, but now they showcased another NPC, the little girl that you start the game with in the tutorial. And she seems to be more of a support type of character, buffing you and debuffing, crowd controlling enemies, which is kind of cool. So depending on your class, I think you can choose which kind of partner you want with your character in the dungeon, which is great. Now I don't know if I'm gonna make any use of this or if it's mandatory for some story quests, but it's a cool addition indeed and regardless. Then there is some new animations that they've added, animations that you can do with other people, meaning that these animations interact with other players. And finally, I think the biggest thing that we can see in this live stream is the addition of a new class. We finally get information and visual confirmation, because we saw gameplay of this new class called the Heavy Smasher, which is a huge hammer wielding character, hammer with a ball, weirdly enough. It's a very slow paced class, but it seems to be very tanky. Animations are cool though, and the ball at the top of your hammer can be used as a weapon. It seems like the character shoots the ball to the enemy and then calls it back. Now this is something I didn't expect to see. I expected a heavy sword or a heavy axe or guns as well. This was nothing I expected, but I'm not disappointed. It looks cool. We haven't seen too much about it. It was just a very short clip, but this is enough to make me understand that they are indeed working on new classes, they are indeed working on the game, improving it, making it better and listening to the community. Now, there may be even a sneak peek for a future class. In fact, we've seen at the beginning of the live stream a screenshot with a enemy maybe or an NPC wielding a gun. Now we know that guns are present in the universe of Blue Protocol because we can also see them in the weapon shop. In the weapon shop in the main city, on the background you can see all types of weapons that are already available in the game, plus guns. So people already were speculating that a new class will be a gunner. And you know, this may actually be the case in the future, who knows? But for now, this is all that we have from Blue Protocol. I think overall this is great news. Shows all the progress that they've been making, and probably there's even a lot more that they are not allowed to show us yet and that they are working on right now as we speak. We have to remember that launch is still a bit far away even for Japan. It should be launching by the end of the year and then next year for us in the West. So there is still plenty of time to add new features, add new classes, polish the game itself. But overall I can say that I'm really surprised. I'm glad to see where the game stands right now, and as always I'm glad to report that Blue Protocol, or the Blue Protocol team, is actually listening to the community, to what people would like to see, to concerns, improvement suggestions, and much more. And if you enjoyed the video, as always, please do click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, and I will see you again in the next video.